As we progress in our journey as drummers and improve our art form, there comes a time when the music starts speaking to us, when the want to add our own flair and feelings are strong, and strong enough that we want to write our own music. Today I'm going to be sharing how I go about that thought process and how I begin the journey of writing my own music. Welcome back. So, as we get more comfortable with the music, we expect to hear certain phrases, certain notes, certain stylings, and as drummers, we start to want to accent notes, or add rolls, or not play at all for a small measure. And this is an internal want to write our own music because it makes us feel good. We interpret the music differently. Everybody does. And so the want to write our own music comes out. And so the thought process on writing our own music is a little different for everybody. There's no, set way to go about it. Obviously, putting it down on paper so others can understand it is a set way. But I'm not going to go into a deep thought on that today. There's plenty other material out there on writing music in general. But I want to talk about how we interpret the music as bass drummers and drummers in general. So there's obviously the notes that are needed, and those are the quarter notes. We talked about that in the previous video. I am going to put a link right up here, somewhere, right here. I'm going to put that link up there again, back to that video about how important those quarter notes are, because they are. But there are other notes we can play. We don't have to play every quarter note. We can play eighth notes, we can play 16th notes, we can, play a half note or a whole note, just one per measure. It's all about how you interpret the music. And so yes, those quarter notes have to be there. They help keep the band going. And so at the beginning of most tunes, I will have, 2 or 3 quarter notes at the beginning. But along with those, I will put in an eighth note or 2 as well, or I will have an accented eighth note and then a quieter eighth note. So take the tune Dr. Gaelic. It starts off ba ba ba, and those 3 notes we can do a lot with. We can just play the quarter notes that are there, ba ba ba, or we can play all those notes, ba ba ba, with accents, soft hard hard, or hard soft hard, and so this really adds energy right at the very beginning of the tune. It's all about what you want to convey. But those first 3 notes of that tune, and several tunes that are similar to that, are very energetic. They're very lively, let's go get 'em kind of notes that set the scene for the rest of the tune. If you haven't listened to it, go ahead and look it up. There's plenty of versions out there here on YouTube. But it's a great little tune, and there's that sort of bounce and feel and energy throughout the entire tune that you can repeat, especially those 3 notes. Just all depending on how the music makes me feel. And so, how do we go about writing our own music? Well, at the beginning of the video, we talked about how we expect to hear notes, how we expect to hear phrases. And the best way for me personally to go about writing my own music is to listen to it. Listen to the pipe tune over and over. Get used to the way it feels. Have it ingrained in me that, okay, yeah, I know the music's going to rise here. I know these are going to be longer notes played at this section. That's all about it. It's learning the music in your head, so you can recall the tune in your head. And that way you can get a beginning of where you want those notes to land. Ideally, I like to have a copy of the pipe music and the snare music together, so I can hear how the snares sound playing to the pipers. And that way I can interpret both sides of the pipe band. And I can help accent certain phrases from the snare line, and then turn around and accent certain phrases from the pipe line. And I listen to where the snare line accents and enhances the pipers' sections of music. And at that point, I'll be like, do I want to do the same thing? Do I want to also accent those notes and phrases? Having a complete synchronous section of music. So there's a whole bunch of thoughts that are running through my head. But talking with the pipe major, talking with the snare line, getting an idea of what they want to hear as well, what their thought process is on picking out this tune, especially the pipers, kind of where they're going with that, what sort of feeling they want the tune to be, and then talking to the snare drummers, especially the lead snare or the person who has written the snare music. Why did you add this roll in here? Why did you add these flams and accents to this particular section? And you can bounce ideas off of them and see if a syncopated note or two with them at the same time would indeed add to what they're trying to achieve. So now we've kind of got an idea of what the tune sounds like. We've got an idea of what the snare drummers are putting in. And for me, writing music, it's not overnight. Heck, most of the time, it'll take me 2 or 3 weeks to finally nail down a piece of music, especially if it's a competition, like a full MSR. It'll take me 3 or 4 weeks to fine-tune what I want to play. And a lot of the time, I end up writing it on the fly while in practice, because the recording is a great start, but hearing the entire pipe section and snare section together playing what's written can be very different from that first recording I get. And so again, I like to kind of have my music evolve and continuing to listen to how the two sections play their music together really helps me finalize what I'm going to put on paper. Obviously, putting it on paper isn't the be-all and end-all. It has to be played like this now because I've got it down on paper. No, music evolves all the time. We can always change our mind. Music can always be adapted, especially on the bass drum. And as I said, as long as we're playing those quarter notes, as long as we are supporting the entire band with the tempo, with staying together, we can modify our music. But eventually getting it down on paper so somebody else can play those same notes over and over is essential. A lot of the time I will put my music down on paper, but in pencil, so I can modify it. With the bass drum, we're obviously not going to be as flashy as the snares, but that doesn't stop us from really putting in some heart and soul into what we're playing. And so yes, we can have rolls, we can have accents, we can do doubles and paradiddles. We can not play at all for a measure or two. We can accent so much. We can play quietly on notes, we can play louder on notes, and so doing all this to accompany the music, to help add feeling to what is being played, it is so much. And so I'm probably waffling here a little bit now, but I'm trying to convey that you can do it too. You can add your own feelings into the music. There's nothing stopping any of us from going out and making our own music, adding our own heart and soul to those pipe tunes. And not every piece of music's written the same. It's all about how it sounds and how it makes you feel at the end of the day. So I encourage you, go out, and the next time you're banging away at your drum, playing those quarter notes, think a little more on how the pipe tune sounds. What would you like to hear come out of the bass drum during those notes that are played on the pipes? And play with it a little bit. Just ensure you're supporting the band, but add some rolls, add an accented note here and there, play softer here and there, experiment, and you'll find that it's a cool feeling when you've added something that, especially when the pipe major comes up to you and goes, "Wow, I like what you did there, that's great." That really is good encouragement to continue doing what you're doing, and put that down on paper, because now you got the pipe major seal of approval. I hope this has encouraged some of you all today to go out and practice writing your own music. It's important that we all do. It helps us all build as musicians as a whole. As always, thank you all for watching. I appreciate every single one of you that has liked and subscribed so far. If you haven't, do it now, right here. I'll see y'all next time.